In this Mixing with Mike tip, we're going to go over the static chorus effect for spreading a stereo signal. So one of the quick ways that you can take an audio signal and that is maybe mono or stereo and spread it wider is to use a chorusing effect. And chorusing usually involves modulation of a delay, so the actual movement of the delay. But what if you could actually take the delay times, leave them set, and not modulate them? That is one of the powerful features here that's available on basically any kind of stereo chorusing effect. If you just take the depth control out, then there's no movement, and then the rate doesn't really matter because it's moving to no depth, right? So there's no modulation. But one of the ways that you can do it is by detuning the left and the right side. And if you detune it by a few cents in either direction, and you can vary it depending upon the type of effect that you want. And then having two delays that are similar but not the same. And then in this case, what we're doing here is putting it actually on the audio track itself. So it would be typical that this would be fed through a send, but for the just for the demonstration purposes, it's easier to do it this way. So what I have here is just the original audio signal, right? And so without this, this is the direct audio signal here. And then we can add in the short delays with a detuning on the left and the right side. And you can hear the modulation, and the sort of modulation, right? Because it's the pitch difference between the audio direct signal and a dry signal, but it's not the phasey kind of modulation that you get. Like if we put in some depth, right, you could start to hear the movement there, and that's obviously very radical by comparison, but that would be more the effect that you would hear there. And then we could take this and this allows you to kind of spread the audio signal without creating too much of a phasey, shifty kind of a sound. You get a little bit of that because that's kind of the characteristic of a stereo image, is the separation of the left and right and the shifting of the left and right signal. But this is a very common technique that's used to spread vocals, where you want a widening effect or thickening effect. One of the ways that you can also do this to create more depth, sometimes this works better with guitars, is to increase the delay time. And it becomes a little bit more like a slap effect, and adds depth to the sound. So it does a little bit more than just widen, it also adds some depth to it. So depending upon your mix, you may or may not have space for that. As you go shorter in time, you can hear how that starts to affect. And then the delays being slightly varied helps to keep the stereo imaging just a little bit wider, and that's the reason why you do that. So anyway, this is just a cool static chorus effect. If you have any kind of delay that has modulation controls, a stereo delay, you can actually generate or create this type of effect, and that's essentially what is happening here with this plugin. So there you have it. There's a Mixing with Mike tip on the static chorus effect. If you like what you see, then go to mpginsider.com and sign up. Click on the Mixing with Mike link, and you can join the live classes every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. by just signing up for the newsletter. No charge. And if you want to dig into more in depth into the mixing materials, then there's more information there about how to join on a more full level here with the Mixing with Mike. Thanks for tuning in to another Mixing with Mike tip.